Hey, I'm Daniel Seriff. I'm a professional guitarist and educator, and thanks for checking out this video. Today I wanted to talk about note knowledge on the guitar fretboard. And here's the reason. The guitar is an amazing instrument that has so much sonic potential. However, it is very complicated compared to many instruments. If we look at the piano, you check out an instrument that is color-coded. We have white and black keys for the natural notes and the accidentals or the sharps and flats. And the guitar, I often tell many of my students that the guitar is like playing 6 pianos at once. And you can see that by, if you looked up and down a string and realize that we start with open, right, at 0 fret, and we go all the way, and this particular guitar has 22 frets. So we have 23 places to play on a single string. And none of them are color-coded. We can't tell. We have dots, but they really don't mean that much besides the 12th fret dot, which is the double dot. That's where the notes repeat. So the important thing about understanding notes on the guitar neck is that we can start to communicate with other musicians, and we can also start to take our understanding of chords and scales and see how they work, and essentially, make better music and also understand what's going on in the music so that you compose or improvise or just be better at learning, right? So in this lesson, I'm just going to show you a very quick way, an entry-level way to learn the notes on the guitar neck. And I remember early on when I didn't know the notes, and I just felt very confused by how complicated this instrument was. And this is one of those exercises that really changed my world and helped me to make sense of the instrument, so that now when I look at it, instead of just seeing a bunch of dots and 6 different strings with 23 places to play on each, it actually looks like music to me, and I can hear sounds and understand simultaneously what I'm doing here. Okay, so we just need a little bit of kind of basic information about the notes that we use in music first, so let me specify that. So, if this is over your head, you might check out some of my other videos. I have a bunch of videos that I'm working on in regards to music theory, and I have a whole course called The Ideal Guitarist. But let's just talk briefly. So in music, we use the first 7 letters of our alphabet: A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. Okay? And that's just what we're going to talk about today. That's a mistake that I see a lot of books and other teachers make. Is like they try to teach, or they try to get people to memorize the entire chromatic scale. I don't believe in that. I believe starting out with really basic and simple information. And the best place to start is with all the natural notes, no accidentals, meaning no sharps and flats, right? So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, back to A. And we need 2 other pieces of information. That is, what is a half step and what is a whole step? Okay, so on the guitar, a half step is just 1 fret up or down. So that could be anywhere. I'm not going to specify what notes right now, but there's a half step, half step, half step, half step. Right, so 1 fret up or down. Right, I'm just moving around different half steps. So you're on a fret, you just go up 1 fret, boom, half step. You're on a fret, you go down 1 half step, boom, 1 fret, half step. Cool. So then we have a whole step. A whole step is going to be 2 frets, right? So 2 frets up or down. So that could be 3rd fret to the 5th fret. Anywhere, or again, we could go backwards as well. Okay, so those are all whole steps. So then you need to know this little bit of information so that we understand the spacing of how the notes are laid out on each string. Well, basically, you need to remember that if we look at A, B, C, D, E, F, G back to A, everything's going to be a whole step apart except B to C and E to F are half steps, okay? So A to B is a whole step, B to C is a half step, C to D, whole step, D to E, whole step. E to F, that's our half step. F to G is a whole step, and then G back to A is a whole step again. Let's look at that on our A string, since we're already looking at it in that order. So we're going to count like 0 essentially as the 0 fret, right? Or open. So we're on A, and we need to go up to a whole step. So we're going to go to B at the 2nd fret here, okay? And then we're going to go half step because we need to go to C. All right? A whole step to D, a whole step to E, a half step to F, a whole step to G, a whole step, and we're back to A. And like I said earlier, that's one of the important things about the guitar, that double dot at the 12th fret. That's actually where all the notes repeat. If you had a 24 fret guitar, you'd have a dot up there too, because that would be where the next octave starts. All right, so I'm on A, and I always tell my students, whatever goes up must come down. In this exercise, we're only concerned about going to the 12th fret, but I want to make sure that you go back down as well. So we're on A, we're going to go a whole step back to G, a whole step back to F, a half step to E, a whole step to D, a whole step to C, a half step to B, and a whole step, we're back to open A. Now, one thing that's really important that I find some of my students make this mistake, don't count the notes themselves as the whole steps and half steps. The wholes and halves are actually an interval, meaning the whole steps and half steps are the distance between two notes. Okay, so just wanted to clarify that. All right, so again, we're on A, and you want to do this a few times a day. I would not do any exercise like this for like long periods of time. And the reason is, it can be boring. And I don't want to bore you, I want to expand your knowledge. But I don't want to do it in a way where it's like you got to do a whole lot of this like for like 20 minutes. Don't ever feel like you got to do that. Even running up and down the scale and just thinking, and actually, this is an important time to say this, not only thinking, but saying out loud is massively helpful. So you might do this for only a couple minutes, go work on playing a song, come back, do this again, play a different song, work on some scales. I'm a firm believer in kind of interweaving your practice activities so that you stay engaged, but also the brain works better that way. It makes you actually absorb the material when you have to come back to it and recall the information you had done before, rather than just repeating it back to back. All right, so let me just show you this A string one more time. So we got A, whole step to B, half step to C, whole step to D, whole step to E, half step to F, whole step to G, whole step to A. Cool, and we're at the A at the 12th fret, and you can always check yourself that way. So then A, we're going to go back down. A, down a whole step to G, down a whole step to F, a half step to E, a whole step to D, a whole step to C, a half step to B, and a whole step to A. And I would like to challenge you to do this on every string. So I'm going to show you on the low E string, but I want you to be able to do this on every string. A lot of people are strongest on the E and A strings because the roots of our chords happen there, and that's wonderful, that's good. It's good to be very strong on those strings. However, there are plenty of other cool chords and upper structure triads and all this wonderful stuff that you can learn later on where you need to know the notes that are on those thinner strings as well. Okay, so let's jump into this low E string. So we're starting on E, and we just need to remember that E to F is a half step, B to C is a half step. That's the only thing. Everything else is a whole step, just to reiterate that. So we're on E, and we're going to go a half step up to F, so we got to go to the 1st fret. Then a whole step to G, a whole step to A, a whole step to B, a half step to C, a whole step to D, and a whole step, and we should be back at E, and we are at the 12th fret. Now, like I said before, what goes up must come down. E, We go a whole step down to D, a whole step down to C, a half step to B, a whole step to A, a whole step to G, a whole step to F, and a half step, and we're back at E. So here's your challenge. I want you to work on this every day for the next week, 2 weeks, 1 month. And again, you don't have to do much of this, but I want you to do every string. And you might consider writing in a practice log, or if you keep track of your practice on the computer or in your phone, whatever's cool. But make sure that you're doing every string and you're working on all of these strings daily. I would say go through each of them at least daily, saying the notes out loud. And I guarantee you this is going to help you with your fretboard knowledge. And then all these movable chord shapes and scales, it's all going to make so much more sense to you. I promise you. All right, so just like with all my lessons, please feel free to comment. If you have any specific questions, feel free to reach out to me on my email address, support@idealguitarist.com. I'd be happy to hear from you and help you out with anything. Okay, have a great day. Thanks for checking out this video. Make sure to like and subscribe, and have a great day. See ya.